when I come to South Wales, I'm always impressed by some of the places that I visit here. And like, I know obviously it's called the valleys, but it's like every valley, there's something special. There's something like unique about it. And whether it's the trails, like where I've been riding today.
Yeah.
So the name of the place I've been riding today?
Tapentwas.
Yeah. Or like, for example, just over the hill there, you've got it's
kind of Wiley Bike Park.
Okay.
But the woods, I don't even know the name of the woods. Like Wiley's the village behind us, so
sure.
There's nowhere near Wiley really, but
yeah,
that's what it's known as. So yeah, everyone knows as Wiley Bike Park, but I guess Anstey is the main town below it, Anstey Woods, Sahawi Valley.
Properly spoilt for choice.
Yeah, because you valleys as well. You drop down into a different valley. It's got a different vibe. Like
yeah.
It's quite a unique place to ride. Kind of like Finale, I guess, where you got like loads of valleys and you kind of do a big loop and
sure.
Every downhill you do, you can go into a different little town. But it's growing. Like like I've ridden you all my life, and the amount of tourist riders you got now is it's grown massively in the last 10 years. Like I used to know everybody on a ride, and now you on a weekend at Wiley, you'd be maybe 200 riders sometimes.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Where I was today, like there was so many people from the Midlands, from down south that had just come here for the day to ride. And just to go to a little place like that, just some sort of unofficial trails, that's pretty cool.
And they're on e-bikes.
And they're on e-bikes. Most of them are. Like
the e-bike is...
even like the teenagers these days.
Yeah. It makes sense, I think.
Right. Rob Williams, welcome to the EMTB podcast. I guess to start off with, could you describe for me like who you are and what you do in the world of e-bikes? Yeah,
I guess I've raced everything for the last 20 years. Started off doing downhill. I did do a season of World Cup downhill, which didn't go very well.
Okay.
Some big crashes, and it took a long time to get there. When I got there, I was just like, actually, I haven't got the head or the desire to keep doing this. That's when I started doing enduro. It was that year I was like, right, what else can I do? Started doing enduro, and that was a game changer for me. There's less pressure, there's more stages, you're just a bit more relaxed, and it's more of a day out. Raced enduro for a long time, and then 2021, I seen the e-bike races 2 years previous, and I was like, I really want to have a go at the e-bike.
Yeah.
The first one I did, I was just like, this is such a cool sport, just so much more involved, more stages, uphill tracks, which I'm a big fan of. Yeah. And just got stuck into that. And
let's like explain it's not the EWS anymore, it's the EDR.
EDR, yeah.
Could you explain the series and just sort of how it works for those that maybe haven't watched it before?
So it's changed last year, but I'll go back to the first 2 years. It's enduro racing. Most of the racing is downhill. We have more stages because we've got the e-bike. We can get quicker transition time, so we can get to more tracks. And then short power stages are usually around a minute, 2 minutes. Quite technical. Really test the motor. Really test your legs and your technical ability. And then the transitions themselves are a lot tighter than enduro, so you're kind of stuck in turbo mode. You're pushing quite hard actually, just to make your time.
Right.
So you do a loop. Maybe it's like 1,000-meter loop of elevation. Get back to the pits, fix where you can. You can change tires if you need to, or your wheels probably starting to fall apart.
Yeah.
Put a new battery in, do another loop, and then by the third loop is when it really starts to, you're really starting to fatigue. You're nearly 7 hours in, and that's when it starts being a real endurance sport. You're really struggling to find the energy, which is different from enduro. I think it was more of a endurance aspect because you're just on the gas all the time for nearly 7 hours. So
it's interesting. You were saying that earlier to me that you feel like the e-bike side of enduro is actually more strenuous than the.
It was.
It was
definitely finishing an e-bike race. I'd end up, having cramps and really fatigued from it, and I loved it. I was just like, this is. I feel like I've really done a hard race. Like I've done a world level race, and I pushed myself beyond my limits.
Do you know where your average heart rates would usually be sitting on races like that?
I don't think I had that, but I would have thought sort of zone 3 for your transitions, which is like, you're pushing on. For the heavier guys, probably zone 4 in some bits. So really using some calories.
Yeah.
And the downhill tracks, you just flat out. So heart rate, I don't know, 150 on 150 to 160 on transitions, which over 7 hours really does start to, you use all your glycogen, and you really got to fuel right. You got to hydrate properly, or you're going to start cramping up.
Yeah.
I had some bad experiences where I didn't quite fuel right, didn't eat properly, and can barely finish the third loop.
So that's the enduro side of what you're doing, and then you've also been involved in the EXC racing as well.
Yeah,
that's something which I actually don't know anything about really. So could you explain that?
Yeah, I think it gets a lot of hate at the minute. Is
it more polarizing? Would you say?
I think so. Just because XC is such a purist sport, it's you and the bike, and you got a motor, so
cheating.
But it's just a different sport. Yeah. I mean, if you want a heart rate data from an EXE race, that's the highest ever average heart rate I've ever had over an hour. Like my max heart is like 188, and I'm sitting like 182.
Whoa.
For an hour.
Wow.
If I race cross country, it doesn't get that high. It's really intense. It's just cross country racing, same effort, same pain, but more technical course, more technical climbing and descent. That's it basically. You got these really cool motors which are capable of getting you up some really tech stuff, and then you're on like proper enduro bikes, like 180 fork, good rear travel. You can get down anything basically. So it's just more extreme XC.
It's interesting that you would ride the same bike for the XC as you would for the enduro. Like that's a big difference between normal XC racing.
Yeah, because the difference between the climbs and the downs is less. Like the climb only 2 minutes, and descent maybe 1.5 minutes. So there's time to be made by having a good setup for the downhill. Not just with XC, it's all weight. It's rolling resistance, and they're making the time on the uphill, and they're kind of recovering on the down. But the EXC, you push in. Well, I am myself, because that's kind of more my strength, is to really push on the downhills.
Yeah,
and kind of recover a little bit on the climbs, which is.
So would you be more inclined to ride a more aggressive bike because of that? Like you feel like you can make up the time on the descents, whereas another rider that might be stronger on the climbs, would they be more likely to ride maybe a shorter travel bike or something that performs better on the climbs?
Yeah, no, people do. I mean, there's riders who run like really lightweight setup, like a short travel fork, really XC based tires, and that's their strength, is to really hammer the climbs and then not as fast in the downhills. But I'm still learning. I'm still figuring out how to win one of these races, and I think I know I need a good setup for downhill, because I know I need to push, because there's a few riders I know I can make up like 10 seconds on a 2-minute descent on them, and then just work on my fitness to really stay there on the climb. So
who's winning races like that? Are they the XC racers?
The guy at the minute is a French rider, Jerome Giu.
Okay.
Does okay in enduro, not sort of top 5, but he's pretty fast. Technically on the climb, he's really smooth. He's a really good technical climber. So he's come from enduro, not like World Cup XC, but he's very good at both. And he's very light as well, which is part of it.
Yeah.
And then you got other riders like a guy called Joris Reef, who has just come from XC.
Sure.
So, he's probably the strongest at the moment, but technically on the up and down, there's a weakness there. So,
You mentioned weight, and then let's bring it back to the EDR. Would you say that a lighter rider is going to benefit more riding, especially with power stages and things like that? Or does it benefit the more powerful riders that perhaps are not so light?
Yeah, that's another thing that's changed. I think, like, previously 22, high powered weight, lean riders did have a bit of an advantage, because you're going to get more out of your battery. Power stages, you have higher power to rate, because the bike only gives you a certain amount of power. So the lighter you are, the faster you go. But now, the way it's gone with the power stage has been a lot they're a lot shorter, a lot more technical. It's much more based on your technical ability, not so much the motor as it was.
Yeah.
And then we're racing the same tracks as enduro, so I think that it suits a heavier, stronger rider because we're riding e-bikes and we're racing over the motor.
Yeah, sure.
Which requires like a lot more power.
Is that quite common?
Yeah, every stage.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose because of the speed you're travelling at.
Yeah. The limit is quite frustrating. I wish we could have it moved up to like 32k an hour or something. Yeah. Just realistic to what you actually do on a track. Yeah, it's not nice pedaling over the motor all the time, but it does suit you really powerful riders, I think.
And does that happen on the EXC as well?
Yeah, they try and minimize it, so it may only be like 40 seconds in like an 8-minute lap. So
yeah,
doesn't really. Yeah, some races has been longer, but some races has just been you never off it. You're always on the motor, going downhill, which is pretty cool.
So those power stages, they're something that really make it quite unique, and then they separate it from the normal EWS racing or EDR racing. What is it about the power stage that makes it so special? Because like you see people queuing up along there to watch it.
It's quite high pressure because if you get used to riding e-bikes and you know when you do a technical climb you make a little mistake, you come to a stop or you have a bit of a nightmare. So it's like a lot of places where you can make a mistake, a lot of tight turns, a lot of steep little pinches, and it's only short. You kind of just want to get up there without
just survive
too many dramas.
Yeah.
But if you want to win it, it's quite impressive. You really got to attack it and just risk it basically. But it's good to watch because then they're short. They're usually down in the valley. People are always making mistakes.
Yeah.
It's just interesting, and you can watch the motors and how people do the corners. And for me, it's really stressful.
Sure.
I've done every sort of racing, but a power stage when you can see like 5, maybe 1,000 people up there. Yeah, the nerves are sickening because do I want to really push to try and have a go at winning this, or do I just want to get up there and get onto the downhill tracks? But
so when you come to a stop and like you've messed up a section and the whole crowd goes, like how does that feel?
It's something I've learned not to worry about. Like it's going to happen, so you just get off your bike and just run and just keep going forward and just try not to get put off by. It will happen, and this happens to everybody. It's just keep going forward and get up there.
Where's the hardest power stage? Are there any that stand out?
I did one in Scotland one year.
Yeah. I suppose
which was very long. It was nearly 4 minutes.
Whoa.
And we rode up. It was really wet, and I lost nearly a minute and a half actually to the leading time, and that was stage 1. So partly I think due to lack of e-bike time. That was my first sort of season on it, and different motor. I was on a Shimano motor, which on a long power stage does have an effect.
Yeah.
But finale had one like up to a castle, which was pretty hectic. Like there was a lot of places where you could mess it up.
That sort of dusty terrain in finale, like this, it can almost be as slippery as a wet Scottish trail, kind of.
Yeah. No, I like the power stages. I think we should have more of them. I think we should have them in the stage.
Sure.
It would make it a little bit less stressful because you're kind of in your zone.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we did a race in Valberg, an e-bike race, which was just e-bike EDR only. There was no. And for me, that was the best race, one of the best I've ever done.
Because it was designed for e-bike.
Yeah, there was
racing.
a really short power stage which didn't really affect the race. Only like 30 seconds. We just like have a go at it.
Yeah.
But then there was climbs in the stages which were quite hard to get right.
Sure.
Which is what the e-bike can do really well. Which why not race it?
Yeah.
And then we had extreme liaisons.
Okay.
Which I thought was really cool. So
what's that mean?
The idea was to have a liaison, which was really difficult, very steep, and then have like a time limit to do it.
Yeah.
After the practice, they had to make the time limit like 20 minutes longer because it was extreme. The guy who set it was French. I forgot his name, but
Is that because it's technical?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a really steep French walking track, really tight corners.
Yeah.
For like an hour straight. And then, half the field just pushing up it. Just barely get up it, like, even myself included.
Yeah.
But I thought, I was doing it in practice, like, this is really cool. Like,
yeah.
This is, why not? It's, should be part of it. So it's a shame that was the only e-bike, only enduro, I think.
Yeah.
Having done that, that's where it needs to be. Like,
we'll move on to that shortly.
Yeah.
And about the format itself. For now, so you're racing for Haibike. You've been racing. Well, you've recently just announced that you're racing for them in 2024 again. Tell me a little bit about the bike that you're riding, and also, let's start on that, and then we'll go on to the sort of support that you receive from Haibike as well.
Yeah. So they got a massive range of e-bikes, a Haibike. So we're on one of the few Bosch powered bikes they do. So it's it's going to be called the Haib this year.
Oh, right.
So it's a Bosch motor. I run it with 180mm travel at the front, carbon frame. 750 battery, but we changed battery sizes depending
right
on stages. And
is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Does everybody do that? Change battery sizes?
If you can, if you got the batteries, I think people would.
Yeah.
Some bikes are kind of fixed.
Do you find it affects the way you ride as soon as you get on a bike that's got a bigger battery or a smaller one?
I haven't actually tested it on the downhill track, which is something we're going to do with Haibike, I think, soon.
Yeah.
But mentally, if you've got a lighter battery and you think, the bike's maybe
a bit more nimble.
Yeah, you're just in your head.
Yeah.
It must do, because you got a kilo off the weight.
Yeah. Especially the position in the frame as well. Like all of a sudden you've taken that weight away from the front of the frame.
I don't know. The position is something I'm interested about. That's something I need to test, because maybe having the weight all the way down low isn't that good. Maybe a light battery higher up rides better. You don't know until you try it.
Sure.
So we can. Last year I was making a load of metal plates just so I could move the battery placement. There's a local guy who's welding some bits and drilling some holes, and I was trying some stuff just to see, could I get the battery really low? Did it make a difference? For climbing, maybe not. You're going to have a bit less weight on the front. It might be a bit more.
Yeah. Do you think that sort of modular battery idea is something that might become more common in e-bikes in the future? The idea of switching out this or riding the size battery that you need for the ride that you're deciding to do that day?
I don't know, because it is quite hard to tell the difference between a 750 watt-hour battery and a 500.
Okay.
Like, it's not going to impact your ride. Like, if you're not really at your limit, it's not going to take the fun away from your ride, like having the big battery. So probably not. I think for the general consumer, having changed batteries, I doubt it.
Interesting.
Probably just more range is what people are looking for.
I guess the other thing is, do you think that the weight of the e-bikes, particularly with racing, do you think they're going to be creeping that weight down, overall weight, or are they just limited by having to build a frame that's strong enough, and also the system weight, total system weight as well?
I really hope not. I really hope they keep the format, which means you need a high power e-bike.
Sure.
Which for me would be what I want to race, like the extreme liaisons, the really steep power stages, and depends which way the racing goes probably. Like last year I could have got round every race on a lightweight e-bike.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, no problem.
Right, okay.
Even the power stages, you maybe have hemorrhaged like 5 seconds.
And this is where you've got some criticisms around the series now. The fact that there isn't that need for the sort of super high endurance that you'd had before. Yeah.
From what I enjoy, that's, I was a little bit disappointed.
Yeah.
But the heavier World Cup downhill riders probably really enjoyed the way the format went, really suited their strengths. So, people can have different opinions on that. But me and my teammate, Andrea, both really like the technical climbs and that sort of endurance aspect. So, it depends which, do you want to really use the motors to their limit, or are we just going to winch up down our bikes and ride down our tracks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the motors, because obviously you're racing with the Bosch
Yeah.
CX race motor, and other brands or other racers out there will be using different brands of motor. Is there an advantage to having one motor over another these days?
For the enduro, probably not. Just because we're testing on power stages, which only test the motor.
Yeah.
And if they're only 30 seconds long, you may, on different brands, may lose a few seconds, but it's more down to your skill. For the XC, there's a big difference.
Okay.
I'd say the minute standard Shimano EPA motor is quite a way off, like what Bros and Bosch have, like power-wise.
There's a key word there. He says standard. The standard motor.
Yeah, I mean, seeing some of the Shimano equipped bikes at the World Enduro, there's definitely they're not standard. There's a load of Shimano technicians at every power stage, like filming, and there's like 5 guys.
They seem to be spending a lot of money on that side of it, and really investing a lot of time in trying to make sure that their system is performing as well as, say, the Bosch system.
Yeah, so whatever they're doing is working because they've had some good results. But it's hard one because the power stage is so short and so technically based. So is it the rider or is it what they've done to the motor? But whatever they're doing at the World Enduro is not standard, and it's got like overrun and more power.
Do you think maybe it doesn't apply now, as you've said, that the series is maybe less endurance focused in terms of having to race up the between each stage? But do you think previously, if you did have a slightly more powerful motor or something that gave you just that extra few watts of assistance more regularly, that then you could conserve your energy for the descents?
Oh yeah, I did a full season on a Shimano bike, and I was probably putting out in transitions, nearly 50 watts more than when I was doing it on a Bosch bike.
Wow!
Which really, that 50 watts is massive on your overall feeling at the end of the day. Yeah, heart rate wise and calories you're burning. So when you have to push the transitions, the motor for sure makes a big difference. Yeah. Not so much now. Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
So how much fettling goes into a race motor, an enduro?
Fettling, what do you mean?
Well, do you have people there adjusting how the motor's working, how it reacts, like to the conditions? Is there, are you able to adjust, say, how intense the power output is? I mean, obviously there already is that to some extent for standard motors.
Yeah, you can adjust things. On the downhill, like I might just use on the Bosch like a Tour Plus.
Okay.
Which is pretty low input, but then when you want to push, it gives you max power.
Yeah.
So on the downhills, you don't really, the motor is irrelevant. Uphills, the overrun, that sort of stuff does help. But more for the XE, which is a really game changer having.
Yeah, the overrun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big difference.
So the overrun, do you find that a little bit of a tricky topic to talk about, because some people will benefit more from that than others?
If you haven't got it, I guess I can see you'd be annoyed that other riders do have it. Not for the power stages in the EDR, I wouldn't stress about it because they're so tight and technical. Sometimes I've turned it off, like this is going to cause me more problems than it's worth.
Yeah, sure.
But for the XE, because it's a long, straight, technical climb. It's got rocks and roots. The overrun just keeps you going forward. Yeah. You can back off the power a little bit, and you're still going forward. Which, having ridden it for like 2 years now, I did a ride with a standard motor. I had like a month on a standard motor. I was like, wow.
Standard Bosch.
Standard Bosch, so just turbo.
Yeah.
No overrun. It was very difficult to do some of the stuff I was doing before.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought, it doesn't really make much difference, but it does.
Yeah.
When you're used to it, the overrun's really cool.
Would you say that with the overrun, it almost feels like a bit like a different sport when you're just sort of playing around?
Yeah, it does a bit because it's a new thing to learn. Like it's not a bike anymore. It's like it's blurring the lines between you have got a motor now which can help you differently than
It's like almost like moto trials that's getting to the point, isn't it?
Which is really fun.
Yeah.
When I go riding locally, I try and find like the most extreme way up the hill I can, basically. And with the overrun, it just opens up more doors where I can have a go at.
So cool. I like that.
I'd be up for a longer overrun, like, you know.
Sure.
Like at the moment, it's like 1.5, 2 meters, but you could have it like 4 or 5 meter overrun, which, yeah, why not? It's more fun.
Is that how it's measured, the distance at which it's still propelling you? Is that how they adjust it?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's, I think it's really short. It's like half a second or so.
Yeah.
I think it's 2 meters.
So when you're at a race weekend, how much support do you get from the team? And like when you're between stages and things have to be done to the bike, I assume you've got a mechanic there, or do you have a couple of mechanics who are actually working on the bikes for you?
Yeah, I mean, I was privateer for like most of all the racing I've done. So on a factory team now, we do have a mechanic. Yeah, it's been so much more enjoyable being at races.
I can imagine.
Someone helping. So we do a loop straight to the mechanic, you know, check, give the bike a quick check, change a battery. The wheel probably needs a bit of attention. There's quite a bit involved with the mechanic with the e-bike race. So you are, there's quite a bit you can do. You may do a loop. It may have rained and you got a power stage. You want to put like a spike tire on the back or something just so you get up it.
And is that time limited? The amount of time?
It's half an hour.
Okay.
So if you've got a mechanic, it's pretty relaxed.
So if you're a privateer,
that
must be hard. No?
Yeah, you change a battery. You may have something major you got to fix, and then you're stressing.
So should privateers been given more time for that sort of thing?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, there's an argument. Yeah, maybe. But I guess that's
somebody else's decision.
You always have an advantage being have a team mechanic and like having that race pits and stuff. I guess that's what you're working towards as a privateer, trying to get on that setup. Really.
How do you cope with family life around racing? Because it must be a lot to fit in when you've got a lot of traveling, you've got a lot of training to be doing, and then obviously you've got a wife and a kid as well. Must be difficult. Yeah,
it's really good, but also it is, there's a lot to organise.
Yeah.
A lot of your time is taken up by looking after child or organising childcare, people having time off work, and it just adds another element to it. But I think I enjoy my life more now, having had a kid, like doing the training and the racing than I did before.
Okay.
But I do a lot at home, like childcare wise, so I do have less time to train basically, but then I'm more focused. I have like 2 hours, I gotta get something done. And
Is that how you work?
Yeah, I just get it done, and then less time to really think basically, and you're just always on the go. But it doesn't really affect your training or your riding. Just the sleep, I guess. The first couple of years, the coach is like, you need good quality sleep, recovery. Just like it's not gonna happen.
Do you have your watch and
I wouldn't want to know. And there's
okay.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I think the sleep is detrimental.
But you were speaking to me earlier. You've got a couple of tracks here, like that you've actually built yourself.
Yeah, so I'm lucky. Moved back, sort of to the family farm the last couple of months. Straight away built some tracks. I can go and ride them for half hour. I've got some uphill tracks as well, so even though it's half an hour, I can get some really good skill-based riding in. Like it's all on. Like there's no I'm going down a technical thing and then up a technical thing. Yeah, that's beneficial, even if it's just, even twice a day, half an hour in the morning and in the evening.
Sure.
Just whatever works, really.
And do you do much training on a road bike as well, or even indoors?
I went out for a fitness test today, actually, on the road bike.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's like a famous climb in South of the Tumble.
Yeah.
But I sacked it in after a while. I didn't have a good feeling this morning. Legs felt pretty horrible.
It's a nice day for it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just want to see. I'm going to Tenerife, actually. With the family. Bit of a training camp holiday.
Okay.
So I just kind of wanted to see.
You were bringing the bike?
Yeah, road bike.
Okay.
I guess, you could talk about training effectively on the e-bike.
Yeah, because that's an interesting subject, because many people would think that perhaps the best way of doing it is to jump on a road bike or even jump on an enduro bike and just sort of grind. And then when you get back on the e-bike, then it's maybe an easier thing to do. But do you find that training on the e-bike is good because it's so specific?
For enduro, I think if you switch in between enduro bike, e-bike, that's going to cause you problems because, that extra 10 kilos makes a big difference in how things handle. Yeah. So I've just stuck to the e-bike for the last year and a half, and it's made a big difference.
Sure.
Feel a lot more comfortable. The weight is just, you don't notice the weight when it's all you ride is a heavy bike. It's not a thing you worry about.
No.
It's just all you know. But if you are switching on, I'm on a light enduro bike, then I go heavy e-bike. Oh, it's so heavy and I'm struggling. But if you don't ride enduro bike and just e-bike, then mindset wise it's way better.
Yeah.
But for like the average person training on e-bike, people say, oh, you work just as hard and you're really not. It assists you a lot. So you have to have some sort of training plan. You have to have some sort of interval stuff or plan of how you're going to get fitter. And you can do it really well on the e-bike. Like a lot of them got power meters. So I could have like a session built around riding the e-bike, but you want to hit your right power and do it properly. Because if every ride is just, I go for an enduro ride on the e-bike, you are just at lower intensity all the time.
It's an interesting subject, even for the average rider that might be riding an e-bike. Like myself, actually, they'll be riding almost exclusively e-bikes. Yeah. You do sometimes have to force yourself to put more effort in.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You're always kind of hovering around, if you go back to the zones, like zone 1, zone 2.
Yeah.
And it's a comfortable place to be.
It is.
You're just like, oh, this is nice, I'm comfortable. But
especially if you're with mates and you're just sort of, pedaling up a hill, chatting away. Yeah. It's
but then
easy.
If you want your enduro bike with down-on tires, you'd definitely be at the higher end of zone 2, probably getting a bit more out of it. But
do you ever go out and ride an enduro bike these days?
I did. I built up a bike for my wife. I did one ride and I was just like, I really hated it. Yeah. I was just like, this is really slow. And then when I rode down the downhill track, I was like, this isn't handling how I normally like it to handle. Like the rear end is a bit light and that was it. I was like, oh, I'm done. I will stick to the heavy e-bike. I don't know, having done so much time on the e-bike, it was really hard. Yeah. And not enjoyable, I thought. Yeah. It's kind of good for me. I was like, I'm never going to go back to regular enduro, I think.
How old are you now?
34. Yeah. Just turned 34.
Could there be I guess if we fast forward a couple of years and we get to the point where maybe racing starts to become less of a viable option, would you consider going into sort of more the media side of mountain bikes?
Yeah, I do a bit of coaching, like dabble in it. I guess that's something I'd like to. Such a good setup here to do it. Yeah. Do more media stuff. Yeah, I'd love to be involved with in the industry, like even with a pro XC team or enduro or just somewhere on those lines, or even doing more video, stuff like this, I guess.
So will you GoPro a stage, and then will you then, when you're actually during the race, and will you be watching back those clips?
I've been getting a bit lazy, actually. There's actually a rider on the Specialized team, Charlie Murray. Because we effectively do the same course on the e-bike, every race he puts up straight away on YouTube, a full run GoPro of every stage.
Fair play.
So I just wait.
Yeah.
Because my runs are always, I stop, I look at stuff, and it's never like, it's a bit of a mess, but he just, he's full gas, full run.
He should be charging for that service, shouldn't he?
He should, yeah, because everyone's on it. Even at the, we might have a break at the top of the track, maybe have 20 minutes before we drop in. Straight away, I'm on YouTube. Charlie Murray, I'm just watching his run. Yeah. You gain a lot, you have that straight before you drop in for your race run. You got to pick up, Yeah. But yeah, I shouldn't rely on that because there's going to be a few races where he's not going to do it.
Yeah. But we'll see when you drop out of the standings. That's the reason why.
But yeah, you gain a lot from GoPro and stuff.
Do you?
Well, it's hard to tell. You'd have to do a race with no GoPro and then use a GoPro and see. Yeah. But I think you do gain a bit.
Do any riders sort of break down the tricky features during a stage and like just chop up a video, and so then they've just got the memory of where the difficult sections are?
My teammate Andrea does a lot of stopping. He looks at stuff, and then he'll put his GoPro back together as if it's a full run. Okay. So he's got it all in continuity. Yeah, we only get one run, so
yeah, okay.
You either walk it which a lot of riders do, but then it does take some energy out. If you're not used to walking, you're walking up like 500-meter climb like 5 times in one day. It takes its toll on the muscles. I used to walk a lot, but I think I'm going to, it does really affect my legs, I think. So I'm going to sack it off.
I bet. I can imagine.
Just do the GoPro stuff. But format's different this year. I had a quick look.
The
e-bike is going to be the day after. So we're going to do practice. Then it's going to be World Enduro. And the day after that is going to be the e-bike. So we do have a day off.
What are you going to do your day off?
I don't know.
Sit around?
Probably watch the other race.
Just chill?
Nah, this is always something to do. But does make... I was... First thing I thought as well, if anyone wants to do both, there's a pretty big advantage there.
God, yeah.
If we do the same course.
Yeah, good point.
Hopefully it comes in the rules that you can't, but maybe... Because we can't practice on an e-bike and then race the normal race and then race the e-bike. That's against the rules.
Is that right?
But you can practice on a normal pedal bike, race the normal enduro, and then race the e-bike. So that's allowed. So there's a bit of a big advantage there because you've done the stages at race pace. And then you race them again on the e-bike. So I think that might... see how that plans out, really. But
let's talk about that format, because it was Red Bull that had the broadcasting rights previously, and then last year Discovery took over. There's been a lot of criticism throughout all of the race series of the new formats. How do you feel the change has been? Has it been a net positive or negative?
Personally, negative for the e-bike. Just feels like a real afterthought.
Yeah.
They put together a few power stages and that's it.
Okay.
When as before, it was this whole separate beast, really. They're the all stages were different. So from my point of view, it just seemed, it's really taken a step backwards in what it was.
So do you feel that they've put less value on the enduro?
I think racing the same tracks. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But then it was, maybe we should do some, or we should do all of them, but then do a load more, which are just e-bike specific with climbs in them or something. Yeah. Just make it a different sport, basically. Yeah. At the minute, it's just enduro with 10 kilos extra. That's all it is.
Sure. How could they improve it? Bring it back to what it was?
Yeah, make the e-bike specific, I think. With the liaisons really technical. Yeah. A little bit tighter. The stages can be longer with climbs in them. Just use the motor in a cool way, I think. Yeah, sure. And make it an e-bike race, not just an enduro race, but we're just cruising up the climbs.
So put a bit more thought into the series then, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Canazay last year, I'm pretty sure you could have rode that with no battery and made all the transitions. Okay. Like, I'm 90% sure that could have been done. Yeah, yeah. Which, I don't know. If that's where you want it to be, you may as well... There's no point in having like a single ground fork. You may as well be on a full downhill bike. Yeah. With the motor on it, if that's what you want, really. Or we have these tech climbs and crazy transitions and a bit more of a story about the race. I don't know.
I've seen... I've actually spoken to... I won't say, but an owner of a smaller brand who has basically decided that it's not worth entering a team for the enduro or the e-enduro. Do you think that's going to become more common, that teams are dropping out because they just don't see value in the series?
From coverage point of view, I guess. I think maybe the teams have to do more themselves to get the coverage they want. Yeah. Their own sort of story behind it with their own filmers. Because relying on coverage, like from a Haibike point of view, we didn't have... Looking at the highlight reels, there was nothing. Yeah. Like, if you're not top 3, even then it's like a tiny section of the overall video. So I think you have to do it yourself as an athlete and as the team, but then it adds more stress, I guess, because you need to try and get more content in a race environment, which is not... Sometimes it can... affect your practice or whatever.
Well, you see what Bernard Kerr's doing, and like the amount of coverage that Pivot's getting from the sort of content that he's making. I'd say he's probably getting as many views on some of his videos as you'll actually get from the main feed. Yeah. And so, like you say, maybe there should be more ownership put on the brands themselves and the riders.
You're guaranteed to get something out of it then, aren't you?
Yeah.
and you're supporting athletes training really hard to be, doing races, which I really respect, and I really think is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see some of the, I know how hard these guys train, and the level everyone's riding at is, it's really impressive. And the older I got, the more I really look up to like the guys at the top.
And do you think that you'll see more and more riders coming from the downhill and also enduro series and moving over to the E side of racing?
Maybe now, because it's like a bit of a walk in the park.
Yeah.
You can jump on the e-bike and cruise up the liaisons and then have fun on the downhill track.
Sure, yeah.
It's good fun. So, yeah. Maybe like it was in 22, 21, you may get, I need to train properly for this, and this is a different beast. But now, yeah, probably will. And the way the bike sales are, it's all, only downhill bikes are selling compared to e-bikes.
Well, that's it. Like, it's, as a sport, it's got to be the most relevant and most relatable series that there is out there right now.
Yeah, it's just trying to get the racing right, I guess, and because downhill is like
number one.
Yeah, it is. It's so cool to watch.
Yeah.
But you got like extreme enduro with the motorbikes and stuff, and they have like, it's a pretty relentless day out. I think that's what the e-bike was and what it should kind of stick as. And then you make a story around that. It's going to be pretty cool.
Is there any talk of like incorporating the main downhill track into any of the enduro stages?
Maybe. I don't know if I'd be keen to go at that speed.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you could do. Why not?
Because then you've got the access to all the cameras as well, because everything's set up there then. So you could have one absolutely like banger stage, which is that.
Oh, I don't know. I don't like the look of the down tracks. They're wide. They're really fast. There's no tight corners. It's a scary sport. Like enduro, you're kind of picking your way. You're doing some endo turns and you're doing little drifts and things. It's more fun.
Yeah.
The downhill. Yeah, I don't think I'd want to race an e-bike down World Cup down track.
You still think it's a scary sport, even though like they get to look at the stage and they get to do track walks and they spend all that time sort of learning each section. Yeah,
just because the tracks are so straight. The limit's just way higher. The bikes, the suspension, everything is like dialed, so they're on another limit.
Yeah.
And if stuff goes wrong, then mentally as well, to get yourself to go that fast is like having done a few World Cups it's stressful environment.
Yeah.
When enduro, you can kind of build, you can start feeling good and just having fun, and you do good stage times like that. But downhill, I don't know. Yeah, I watched stuff like Leo Gang. I was like, wow, this is
what a course. Yeah. Looked wild.
Yeah. I don't know what the rider's like. I would have thought some riders would want it to be a bit more slow and tech.
I guess like a course like Leo Gang is so weather dependent.
Yeah.
So like some riders, I guess, it allows some of the riders that aren't likely to podium all of a sudden be in a position where they might.
Yeah. Yeah, it did rain when I watched qualifying. That was exciting to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think downhill is a hard sport. To be getting in that top 30 qualifying, the pace is pretty insane. Yeah, it's so close to your limit you have to ride. When enduro is a bit, you don't really know where you're going, so you never really find it.
Sure. So are you always at like 90, 95%?
You are. You probably don't think you are, but you must be, because you don't really know the limit of each corner.
Yeah.
Because you've only done it once.
Yeah.
But the downer boys, they know how fast they can go on that turn, like on the limit. Do it all the way down. So yeah, you are definitely going to be not on the actual limit of the track.
You mentioned about coaching. What if you were to give advice to, or just a small piece of advice to riders to ride faster?
Yeah.
What would be the best thing that you could tell the average rider, somebody like myself?
Just focus on just grip and just everything around getting more grip. And so you got your body position, your braking, that's everything. Your tyre choice, your suspension setup, your overall fitness, how long you can hold that good body position. But just focus on like, how do I get the most amount of grip in every situation? What can I improve on? And that's going to make you faster, because the guys getting the most grip in the most controlled way have got the most confidence, and they're the ones going the fastest. There is a difference between like overthinking it and really, some guys are just fast, they may crash a lot, and some guys might have a great technique and not really go to their limit.
When I've previously filmed with pro riders, standing beside the track, like when you're super close, or say you're at the sort of highest compression point of a berm, perhaps, seeing and feeling the amount of force that pro riders put through turns, you can really see where that grip comes from. Because
when the body position is just so dialed, and the suspension tires are all really dialed, so they know how to get the most out of it. And
with that additional speed, there seems to come more grip as well.
Yeah, that's where the best riders are the ones who can, when it gets gnarly, not be scared to find like the front end grip and things like that. Like,
sure.
Like I love watching Reece Wilson. Like I think his technique is, it's amazing to watch on the bike, and I try and like pick up bits from what he's doing.
Really?
Just where he's like so level pedaled and just stays so centered in like the really gnarly stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool to watch.
Do you want to do quick fire questions?
Yeah.
Tricky one to start off with.
Right.
Red Bull TV or Eurosport?
Yeah, Red Bull.
Favorite country?
Portugal.
Is that to ride or just to be in?
Both, I think.
Yeah. Portugal, I couldn't believe how much it's like the UK sometimes.
Yeah, it's a good vibe. Just chilled out, good riding.
Yeah.
Good weather.
Pre-race breakfast?
Pretty boring. It's like rice and eggs, some bananas, some berries.
Is it always the same?
I try to, just because if it works, just don't do something crazy before a race. Like, keep it the same.
Post-race dinner?
I love a cheeseburger.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good French cheeseburger is always good.
Yes.
Or pizza. Yeah, standard.
Good French pizza.
Yeah, pretty good sometimes.
Where's your favourite place to ride an e-bike?
That e-bike World Tour in Verbia. The first time I rode an e-bike there was this year, and that was epic,
Yeah.
Some cool climbing tracks and some amazing long single tracks.
Verbia is a stunning place to ride. So cool.
I want to go back. That was just in a race environment, so I think if you're not racing, it'd be even better.
Yeah.
Just to have a look around.
Some of the trails you can explore in Verbia. I've ridden the longest trails I've ever ridden before in Verbia.
And I think in Switzerland, you're allowed to ride up the walking tracks and all this stuff, so it opens up, like, you can make a really epic ride out of it.
Big ridgeline stuff. Yeah. No, it's
really cool.
Okay, and favourite place to ride for fun?
I have some good days at home. Really, really good days, especially in the spring before everything gets overgrown.
Yeah.
Finale is really fun on the e-bike. Probably home and Finale.
Worst track?
We raced in Zuma once, and there was some horrible stuff there. Like, maybe I'd enjoy it more now, just what I've been riding, but it was just such slow, awkward walking trail, like really tight. You couldn't lean the bike.
Just not bike-specific trails, basically.
Yeah. I remember having a nightmare there. But I think I'd enjoy it more now. But yeah, probably Zuma.
Worst injury?
Worst one? I've had quite a few, actually, but when I was young, like 17, I think, I ruptured my small intestine. But I didn't know about it for quite a while.
Whoa.
The pain sort of after 3 hours was, I nearly jumped. I tried to jump out of the ambulance. It was that painful. Like I had a shattered elbow and wrist at the time, and I didn't even know. So from a pain perspective, and that was horrible.
That's serious.
I broke a few bones and cracked some vertebrae, but the ruptured intestine, from a pain perspective, I never want to feel that ever again.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Okay. SRAM or Shimano?
SRAM.
Yeah.
Drivetrain, not brakes.
Brakes?
Hayes.
Okay.
Hayes brakes.
Fox or RockShox?
Probably Fox.
Yeah.
But I've been on Manitou stuff for the last 2 years.
Okay.
Which, really impressive. Especially the fork, the Mesa fork.
It's funny, Manitou, you don't often see them really on e-bikes.
No, it's a good e-bike fork.
Yeah.
You've got the 2 air chambers, so you can really dial in your mid-support and stuff. Obviously I'm supported by them, so I'm going to say they're good, but they are. I did do a lot of testing against that with Fox, and I'm really impressed.
Sure. EXC or EDR?
I should say EEDR, but if I have a good EXE race, I feel pretty satisfied from it. They're so different. If I came top 10 or top 5 at a EEDR and really rode on my limit, that's going to be EDR.
Okay. Yeah. Most satisfaction when you're winning.
Yeah, when you're on your limit, really everything's going right. Enduro is hard to beat, I guess.
pretty much there. Is there anything that we've not covered, do you think, that's worth chatting about?
I don't know, maybe the weight of stuff.
Yeah, I guess the weight of e-bikes is something which is an interesting, it's quite a hot topic, because it's definitely something that people have a real issue with when they're considering getting into e-bikes. Like, obviously you've raced them at a top level, but how do you find the whole weight thing when it comes to riding e-bikes?
Yeah, I think it's one of those, like I said, if your only bike is an e-bike, the weight really isn't, it goes away. That whole weight thing is just what you know.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what the bike is. It weighs that much. And then it does handle, really well. The back end, the rear suspension works really well. Even on some of the really steep stuff, I'd rather be on an e-bike.
Okay.
Just because of how much more control it is. But yeah, when you're looking at weight, the e-bike frame is always going to be like 4 to 5 kilos standard.
Yeah.
You add your motor and your battery, that's what they are. Like, people are going mad over like 1 kilo really between bikes.
Is there an optimum weight for an e-bike? And is it lighter than what we're currently seeing them at?
Maybe there is, but unless you test and which is faster, that's the optimum weight, isn't it? So you may say, 22 kilo e-bike is going to be the optimum, but then if you go and test it and your 25 kilo bike is faster, which it probably is, then that's the optimum weight. I don't know. Yeah, it depends on battery placement as well, and how it actually feels. For the XC, yeah, if you could have an 18 kilo full power e-bike, that's optimum, because power to weight goes way up. But for enduro, I don't know.
It does seem like the position of that weight is perhaps more important than the actual overall weight itself.
It was interesting because you look at some of Fabian Burrell's times. If you break it down and have a good look at it, he's very close to winning a lot of the EDR stages.
Sure.
And he did actually win a few.
Yeah.
Which there was no motor involved whatsoever on the ones which he did win.
Yeah.
It was all just bike handling and skill. Is he just going really fast, or was there an advantage of the weight? I don't know.
Probably going really fast.
Yeah, he's so impressive. Like,
he is insane, isn't he?
If he's doing those times, he still must be, if he entered the normal race, still up the top, top 5.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Gives hope for us all, I think.
Yeah, maybe too much hope when you're getting older. Even Vulios, I mean, he was 45 when he.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had a bit of a head injury or something last year, but his e-bike ability was incredible because he just spent so much more time than everyone else. Like, really, and he's Nicky Vulios. So yeah. So the weight, I don't know. I think no one's really got a stopwatch out. Done like a lot of testing and got an answer.
No.
Yeah, I have done it myself on climbs. I got a bit obsessed with the XE stuff, like, my bike's too heavy. Like, really started just getting obsessed as overweight. Like, looking at components, like, should I spend this on? So I just got a backpack, got some dumbbells. The e-bike's got a power meter, so I'll ride up this hill, set power, time it. I'll do it a few times, take the weights out, and just see what the difference is. So it wasn't much.
Okay.
4-minute climb at the set power with a 4 kilo weight was like 2 seconds.
That's mad.
It was really, not much. You have to put out an extra 5 watts.
Yeah.
To kind of get it back.
Okay.
But then when I added 10 kilos, it was like, then it really started to, you could feel it. And
that's some weight though, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, you're talking like 1 or 2 kilos between bikes.
Yeah.
Like on a 2-minute climb is half a second.
So there's not much difference.
There's not much in it. Tires makes a way bigger difference.
Yeah.
Tires and wheels, really.
I suppose the question would be, is a heavier bike quicker on a descent, or is a lighter bike quicker on a descent?
I think on a steep track, I don't know. I like the heavier bike. Probably the heavier bike.
Maybe it's rider specific. Maybe that's the answer, perhaps.
I think if anyone jumps if they're switching between the two, they're probably going to still feel, because they've been on the enduro bike for like so many years, they still feel more comfortable on that bike. If they did just ride the e-bike for 3 years straight, nothing else, they're probably going to feel way better on the e-bike, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's still a young sport, and it's still e-bikes haven't been around that long. No, it's as simple as that. And we're still at those early stages that we'll look back on in 10 years' time and go, wow, I can't believe we were riding those. No,
I love it. I love being involved with all the technology side of it. And
yes.
Yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, well, I think the future is definitely bright. And I guess I need to say, good luck for the season that's coming, and also good luck with your training leading into it.
No, for me, it's just a case of just ticking off each session and not looking. Hopefully, it all falls into place. Is my plan this year. I'm not going to get stressed about it. Just follow the process, really.
Well, Rob, thank you very much for being on the podcast and inviting me to your house. And I think I'm going to hang around for another day and perhaps get some local riding in if I can. Definitely
should. I mean, I'm going to say this is the best spot in the south of the UK.
Yes.
To ride.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm going to make the most of that. Cheers, Rob.
Yeah, thank you.